Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Woo.
But before we talk about anything, let's just check if we have sound.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you hear us? Yeah.
See?
Now that
Now? Guys, फिर से. This is like that embarrassing.
You guys can
Yes.
keep talking because they can
This
hear
is
you.
the embarrassing
So, guys-
McLaren pit stop.
And now can they hear me? Yes, they can hear me. I am no longer muted. Now the embarrassing
Yes.
McLaren pit stop is at end. Rohan is no longer on mute, guys. Give me a cheer. It's all good. All right,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Congrats.
So, as I was saying, it has been quite an eventful week/weekend. What do we want to tackle first? Do we want to talk
We want to
about...
tackle Hamilton on the podium first.
Okay,
All
so
right,
the
chalo,
race it is
yeah.
then. I guess
Straight away. Straight like dive straight
away.
into the. Yeah.
Sherry is
My,
so excited.
my DMs have been full with people saying, "Oh my God, I can't wait to see Azeem on the podium."
But I mean, for me, it's not a problem, no, because Max still won. So I mean,
Hey.
No.
Chat is already saying Sherry Day. It's Sherry Day.
Yeah.
so you know how Vettel slowly went from being dark side to likable. Like Hamilton now, after being in the town, is already halfway there.
Acha.
As long as he's not winning, I don't care what he does.
Acha.
But he's getting there now. So then, now
Yeah.
he's getting closer to winning only.
See, I
Yeah,
was
Soon he'll be
Podium,
picking up
a
trash from the
podium.
stands. You know?
See, I had mega flashes of red in my head the moment the two of them came out side by side after Max's pit stop, and I was like, "Chalo, bhai, who's going to put a wheel into who?" But it was very nice. Hamilton just moved aside.
Cordial. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
like,
not my battle.
yeah.
You go enjoy yourself, young man. It was just that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to see everybody. I mean, Mercedes back in something like a good car finally. But also lots of other Checo's DNF and Leclerc starting from the back. So lots of circumstances, but a good race overall, I have to say.
While we're on
Yeah,
the
I think
subject
it
of
was
that, I
eventful.
thought Leclerc driving his way from 19th to
Yeah.
6th? What, 6th?
The
5th?
P5.
Yeah.
Yeah, P5.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Fab.
Yeah.
And also considering he was stuck in that, like he was getting very frustrated early in the race with that DRS frame that he was stuck in.
When they weren't
Yeah.
pitting him also.
Yeah, I mean they couldn't because he had started on the hard tire, and I actually thought Ferrari might have missed a trick over there, considering that if you start on that alternate strategy on the hard tire, if there's any early safety car, basically you get completely screwed by it, and he was pretty much screwed by it. It's just that late safety car sort of came in and made his life a little bit easier. So again, probably would have been a good decision for them to start him on the medium so he could get overtaking earlier and be on the same strat as the leaders. So it's one of those. If he had a late safety car, suddenly he would be in the game entirely, and that's I think who did it work out for? I think Bottas it worked out for very well.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. And I mean a good
Disappointing
showing
for
of his. Like,
Alonso and y'all, I'm guessing.
Very sad.
How can you not forget that?
Oh, dude, let me tell you. First, my sadness started with the fact. So I had my Saturday started with a flight at 6:30 a.m. Reached Bangalore. Did one show at 3 p.m. Did one show at 6 p.m. Then went and met my Indian racing community people and did miscellaneous debauchery with them. And then came at 12:30 to watch qualifying. And I was like, "Chalo, Alonso Q3. I mean P3, exciting this that." And just before Q3 started, I fell asleep. So I did not get to see Alonso's lap for second place live. It was so sad.
Lap of ages, dude. That was amazing.
It was so good. It was so good.
Yeah. I mean, what a great Saturday for Alonso. Just on the Leclerc bit, I feel like also, like you mentioned, Azeem, he was stuck in that DRS train and stuff like that. I thought it was a very mature drive, good showing of his patience, a good showing of his judgment. He's had all these DNFs and everything, but you could tell he had the bigger picture in mind. There's a world championship on the line over here and everything. And the Ferrari was actually a fast car, you know, at the end of the race.
And he didn't waste any opportunities. I'll give him that, right? Like he was stuck in that DRS train, but it sort of felt like every time the camera cut back to him, he was one position up, one position
doing
up.
something.
He was doing something. He was like that patience was like he was patient when he had to be, but when he had to go, he just was like 1, 2, 3. He was methodical, which was nice to see.
Very methodical, very good, very concerted sort of drive. Unlike Fernando, who sort of wondering why the hell he didn't stop during those virtual safety cars, you know, all of that.
Yeah, that
like,
strategy was a mess. I mean, unfortunately, I don't think, I mean, like after that initial, when he didn't stop only, I was like, it's not going to work because there were too many people for that third place.
Yeah, I think they were trying to be too conservative really by saying that, you know, everybody will stop twice, we will stop once and we'll lose the time on the track but gain it back on the pit stop. So I think if they had a little bit more confidence in themselves and the car and be like, you know what, because up till the first VSC, he was very nicely keeping up with
keeping
Sainz,
at the Mercedes at bay and stuff like that, you know. That was quite nice.
I also think he was relying too much on Ocon and hoping very hard that he's gonna
he would keep it back
like that race. But like it wasn't their day clearly.
I think he said on the radio also, you know what to do.
You know what to do.
It's just everything has to be L plan.
You know what to do. It was like this dramatic.
But it was pretty cool. Like, so Ocon, the first lap that Joshi showed where he just parked it and made people couldn't park. He was like, chalo bhai, maine kaam kar liya. Next straight pe aap chale jao. It's done. Just a joke. But it was, I made a few notes. We could go team wise, the way we usually do. So, Sherry, you may take the next half an hour to talk about all the great things.
Before we yield the floor to Sherry for the next 14 hours, may I quickly read out some super chats? And also tell people that while we have like almost 500 people watching, we only have 146 likes, which frankly, I think is just like nonsense, guys. Please smash that like button. Come on, how are people going to know that you're enjoying
like Yuki Tsunoda into the wall?
Do it.
Smash that like
button. Smash it like Yuki in the UK. Abhishek Verma says, Azeem, L Payne, Gotifi, Mr. P16 hit a groundhog, told you McLaren have a 30 car and should fire their pit crew. Ye Ron bhai ko wapas aana chahiye. Abhishek also says, Bachcha's hose, bad luck end while Mick continues. Jehan got his first F1 test with McLaren and Vips possibly out of the picture is something we will come to. Things look good. Sai says Rohan ka max radio scene ho gaya. We could not hear you. Please discuss about Alonso been left out by his team. Thank you, Tara, for your super chat. And Sherry.
Okay. So obviously for me, Mercedes had a great weekend. Lewis on the podium after a while was fantastic. I think great drive, great strategy also with both of them. I think George was, competitive as well. And I think they're getting there. Like you can see the difference definitely in the car, clearly. And at points, they actually seemed competitive, right? Like where they were actually even on the radio saying they look pretty quick. And they did seem, of course, the front two were in a league of their own after a point where it did seem like they were going off and it was more of this, third place, fourth place. But I think from where we come, I think it was a great race for them. And I think for Lewis fans like myself, a very satisfying end to the evening because I think just that to see him back in a competitive space was great.
Good weekend overall for him.
Good weekend, very good.
Overall, it was confidence boosting for him, I feel
like
also.
He seemed like that, that hunger, that drive was there where he was really pushing, obviously. And I think for once, he had the better luck than George in terms of strategy and, what was planned and whatever. So I think overall, great weekend for them. No complaints, upwards and onwards.
I mean, George's whole George's whole strategy on the qualifying seemed a little bit questionable. When he came out in Q3 on the drives. But I think for Lewis, it was a very good return to some sort of form. Showing great pace in tricky conditions on Saturday. And then on Sunday, also sort of maintaining his composure through the whole thing.
But this is also a track he's done really well at, no? So I feel
Yeah,
like that
yeah,
also adds that when the car is slightly competitive, he's already got that boost of I've already won here so many times that I can do
but
this.
he looked relieved.
Yeah,
the thing is,
definitely.
right?
Totally
He genuinely, you could see it on his face, right? That this is
That smile at the
whatever
end.
he's been saying. Like he looked like, oh my god, like it looked like he was back in the sun for a minute after being out in the cold for a while. You could tell, like it's been like Lewis on the podium has become almost such a taken for granted sight. I think that even for him, that he'd sort of gotten into like how like certain cricketers, right, when they like Virat Kohli man of the match lete waqt matlab it's like acha like kitna TVS scooty घर लेके जाऊँ मैं right kitna TVS scooty घर लेके जाऊँ. I think that had happened with Lewis. So this is sort of after a long time it feels like he's like, oh shit, बाल मतलब आ गया. अच्छा लगता है. I'd forgotten. I should not take this for granted, and it's good for racing, right? If that happens.
Yeah. And also I would like to point out, see Shari, this is what happens when in your wild prediction you don't predict that Red Bulls are going to crash. Then your driver makes it.
Makes it, yeah.
I didn't want to jinx it. Actually, my original wild prediction was going to be Lewis on the podium, but I was like, y'all are just, will say she's just kidding. कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. Hard time बोलती है Lewis. Which is why I changed it, but then...
See, and then the one person who you said Vettel on the podium, Vettel khatam, out in Q1.
What Vettel? He was having such a good weekend, guys. Let's talk about what happened.
Yeah, Vettel, it's a complete flip for Aston Martin, no, where suddenly Stroll, again, the guy who always starts P17, ends up in the top 10 at Canada. That's just how he rolls. And Vettel, just the shock that he had in his radio, I don't know if you all heard it, where he was, guys, how did this happen? No, it's impossible.
And then the other one where he didn't know the radio was on and he was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know the radio was...
Yeah, but bad weekend good weekend for Lance Stroll, you could say. But again, Vettel, sure, finished 12th by the end of it, or 12th. But not a great weekend for them. Williams, great weekend, you would have to say. Latifi, Mr. P16.
Damn.
Lati 16E. I think he can just change the F to 6 in his name. And do that. And his car number should be 16 next season.
16, There's no question about it. Take it from Charles Leclerc. Yeah.
He's like a bus. 16 number आ रही है.
It's like move out of the way, 16 number आ रही है.
Yeah, really. Like that's it.
Yeah, but Albon showed a decent pace overall, like even on quali as well, like to put it P11 or P12, I think it was. And finished P13, pretty decent showing from him, but still no points for Williams, so I am sad. But
they had a technical accident this week, and earlier today lost their Instagram account completely.
Really?
For a bit. What? Yeah. Like it was just gone for a bit, and then it's come back. Like it's been
I think it was being sold by the Williams family.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Still owned.
Like,
for a new front wing.
Like, that contract just went through for a new front wing.
Like we just sold our Insta.
But who do you think had the unluckiest weekend in your opinion? Like, because I feel like so many drivers were unlucky this weekend.
Checo was unlucky.
I think both the
Haas were damn unlucky. Yeah.
Like where they were in qualifying, like it looked like it could have been a genuinely like solid.
What does Mick Schumacher have to do to score a bloody point in F1? Yeah. What does that kid have to do to score a point, Mick Schumacher? I mean, like, yeah. He
at
also
this
like
point, that single point is going to be so special for him. Go ahead.
So special, yeah. It's going to be like when George Russell scored his first point and Puntlab on the thing, he was crying almost and all of that. It's like it's going to be like that. It's like what a sigh of relief it will happen. I believe it will happen for that boy. But also, I mean, I think like K-Mag was looking a lot more aggressive than Mick was. Mick got like also like, Esteban Ocon took him on the first lap. George Russell made a dive down in the first lap and everything. He was showing some good pace after that, and then the engine stopped. But K-Mag, like, he was whining after the race also. Like, I mean, it's not like the front wing was like totally off the car or whatever, bringing the car in to change that front wing. So I think Haas were damn unlucky. On the Haas unluckiness, I don't know if you guys read about this, but basically, Nikita Mazepin is suing Haas right now.
No
Yeah,
way.
he said he was going to. He said he was going to.
This story came out, okay, for arrears and salaries that have not been paid to Nikita Mazepin. And my key takeaway from that story was Haas was paying Nikita Mazepin a salary? Like, how, in what universe was that happening?
At that age, you can't say pocket money, no?
Yeah.
You have to call it a salary.
Yeah.
Right? Daddy can't give pocket money, no, at that age, so you give salary.
Yeah. Salary, yeah. So, like, Haas was really unlucky this whole weekend.
It's
and
fertilizer
on top of
pay.
That, fertilizer pay coming into the mix. Yeah.
Well, it's just so sad. Like, I mean, obviously, like, you can understand why he would be spiteful about it. But I mean, Bichare Loko, I mean, they barely have any budget. They have no sponsor. The one sponsor was you, and he's on Super.
Guys, Sada plan for Haas sponsorship also. Very much. We are on
Put
track,
it into
guys.
the super chat, guys.
We will offer them all our super
Smash
chats
those
from
super
the
chats. All of it will go to Haas F1 if Sidepod can get on their car.
We should just see if we can just make like one Chotu furniture thing and send to Gunter Stein and say, photo डाल and we'll give you all the money.
Small boats.
Small, yeah.
I don't know if he's the unluckiest driver, but actually not unlucky at all. But really, like, in the sense, Carlos Sainz stepped up, man. Like, he was like, look, Leclerc starting all the way from the back. Like, I don't know when I'm going to try, but I'm going to make sure that, like, we're all the way up there, like, you know, at the top. This is the weekend for me to sort of hold the fort. And he showed that, like, good old Carlos Sainz sort of spirit and gumption. And I thought, like, he was great.
Yeah, I think
after the shit show he's had.
After the shit show he's had, I thought that was like a very, like, confidence-inspiring
very good
drive.
Yeah. And actually, I was a bit disappointed that the entire safety car thing happened, because to see the actual battle that it would have built up to with Verstappen having to catch him and pass him, I think that would have been the truest test for Sainz of how can he defend. And I think when Verstappen has to pass as opposed to when he's defending, he's a completely different animal. And I think the kind of battle we would have seen there could have been like
But it was good even like after the safety car, him trying to pass, you could make out that, like, you know, Ro was on it. Like, he was always in the DRS. He was always trying to get out of that hairpin as fast as he could or whatever, try to make a move. How much curb was
he did not
using
settle
on
for
that
second for
chicane?
half a second. He did like
half
just
a second.
No, I'm going all the way. First is a possibility. And it's actually nice to sort of see that straight up winner's mindset from him. Like that doggedness. That was great.
Yeah, but there is a little bit of still I think insecurity attached to it, because I watched all of his interviews afterwards, and in every interview, like 5 times per interview, he was saying, guys, I did everything, I pushed as much as I could, I left everything on the track. You could see I was so close to the walls, everything. I tried very hard. मैंने किया यार, मैं आता है यार, please यार.
बहुत मेहनत किया मैंने,
But I think he's also hungry for that win, nah? Like, that's what, like, he's really desperate for it now, and you can see that. Like, that whole chase was that, but it's just unfortunate that Max was
he's
also
the Mick
great.
of the front.
Like,
Like, if that makes any sense.
And I think if he had made one mistake, it wouldn't have worked. But that was the thing. Like, he was also perfect, so there was no, like, opportunity.
The guy who had made no mistakes this whole weekend, Max Verstappen. I mean, come on. On Saturday, in those shit conditions, that dude was amazing. Q1, Q2, Q3, every lap was on point.
He is relentless. He is relentless. That man is relentless.
The composure he showed in those final laps, not a single error at it. It was a fully like a world champion's drive. You know, like, I feel like Red Bull is becoming a little more like battle hardened as this championship performing team. Ferrari is still trying to get there. Ferrari is still like trying to, you know, get into that sort of championship mentality. Red Bull seems very battle hardened. Max is operating on a different plane altogether. Like, that boy was on point. He's got 2 race wins in hand now. He's like 49 points ahead of Charles. You know, it's
but it was similar situation last year going into Silverstone, and then front row cops corner this week. I mean, next weekend going to be very interesting.
Yeah, Yeah, but I think he's also really hungry to kind of prove that he deserves to be world champion
Like,
after
I
everything
don't
that
think he wants
happened
it to go
last
down
year.
to the last
He
race this
doesn't
year.
want it to go
Not
down.
at
He doesn't
all,
want
yeah.
it to be
No.
questionable anymore, which is what you can see in his
Yeah.
driving.
It's
He's
like kitna race
so
director change
mature.
karenge.
Yeah,
He's like, I
that's
want to
the
have this
time.
done by race 15.
Yeah,
And
and I
then
want to
everybody else
say
is
that
fighting for the rest.
there's no
Yeah.
question about it because last year was
Yeah.
such a great space. I think for him as a driver, this is like, for him, it's that thing of, I want to prove that I am, I
And
deserve
there's
this
no
world
better
championship.
opportunity
Definitely.
given that Mercedes are just off their
It's
own
out,
accord
right?
struggling,
Exactly.
right? Like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is, you
yeah.
will not have a better chance to
Yeah.
like just stamp like once and for all, like you correctly said that
Yeah.
look, this is not a great thing. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter Massey or no Massey. Like
Yeah.
I am the
Yeah.
champion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so since we've covered Max, Carlos, and Lewis, I wanted to talk about. So I was watching their post-quali interview, the one in the press conference with three of them, and there was all the regular racing questions, and then one question came up of the person was saying, "Ki all of your fathers have had a big influence on your racing lives. What would you like to say about that for Father's Day?" So Max was like, "Oh, my father was a race driver and he used to build the karts and this and that." And Sainz was like, "My father was a world champion and he would give me advice." And you could just see Lewis's face on this side, but literally he just wanted to say, "मेरे बाप के साथ मेरे पास नहीं था पैसा."
Yeah. My dad had to mortgage his house.
Yeah. I mean, same stuff as those guys, but yeah, my dad didn't have money, so just straight up.
Yeah.
But it is, I mean, that is a tremendous achievement in general, which is very underlooked. The fact that Lewis is one of those few drivers, I think the one driver, apart from, I think, Michael Schumacher, you could say the last driver
Yeah.
who came in and had, maybe you could say to an extent Kimi Raikkonen also, but who came in and had no family lineage
Backing.
of racing pedigree
Yeah.
and no backing.
Yeah.
He just came
If
in
I'm
and
not
took it out
mistaken,
and won.
Ocon's parents also
Yes,
Similar,
have
Ocon's parents
basically like
also
put
similar
a lot
background.
of
Yes.
money in
Yeah,
like and
yeah.
have like really like made a lot of sacrifices.
Massively, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is relentless, and the fact that he's been able to, as still the only black driver. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys saw, like, I mean, we'll talk about Juri Vips and racism in F1, but there
Yeah.
was that whole sort of episode around Naomi Schiff, the
Yes, just now. Yeah,
WCG driver as well, and stuff like that. That shit is still going on. So can you imagine the kind of shit 15 years ago this kid would have to have dealt with? Not just in F1, like 20 years ago when he was in karting and stuff like
Yeah.
that, the only black family at a karting track where like it's all rich white kids.
And
I mean,
without the
yeah.
money. Like
And
that.
without
that-
And without
yeah.
the money,
Yeah,
without
yeah.
anything. Yeah. Crazy.
That was crazy.
Okay.
But it's I mean, it's good to we'll talk about
But to go from Max and from this thing to the opposite end of the spectrum, our good friends at McLaren have forgotten that pit stops are also an important part. Of
rumor has it they're still
no,
looking
you didn't
for
do
one
that
of
right.
Norris's
Arjun,
tires.
you didn't do that right. That happened way too quickly. That happened. You have to struggle with the hat for a
It had to
couple
be
of
like-
minutes.
Yeah, you have to put on the
Yeah,
wrong hat
exactly.
first
Yes,
and then
yeah,
put it
yeah.
back.
Then you have to go look for the other hat, and then you have to go running back, and then only then it's fun.
Yeah. Gosh, my God, what a comedy of errors this team had over the weekend. Oh my God. I mean, it was positive for Danny Rick a little bit, like, being there ahead of Lando and stuff like that. But overall, a weekend to forget. That pit stop was comical. Like, it's just like, you should have that, like, Benny Hill music playing at the background, like, like that kind of shit happening, Like,
It was very sad. But I don't know what it is. Since the last couple of races, so Ricardo suddenly come out and now he's doing better even in quali than Lando and everything. And I don't know, has he made some agreement? I think this is a conspiracy theory. Has he made some agreement that I will drive fast if you screw Lando for 3 races? Uska tire bhul jao, uska pit strategy compromise karo, then I will drive fast.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to quickly read some super chats. Kushagra says, Hamburg pit exit incident gave flashbacks. Merc getting major upgrade at Silverstone. Are Merc back? Chagvinda says, thoughts on Jehan testing. Sanskar says thoughts on Gasly. And Carlos Sainz says Binotto, Rana. Okay, my eyes can't do this.
Arana Sanga मी
I
खूप
forget.
कष्ट
I
केले.
need new glasses.
मी खूप कष्ट केले.
Okay. Ha.
This is
Sanga. Oh, Sarana Sanga मी खूप कष्ट केले. Binotto Sarana Sanga मी खूप कष्ट केले. Okay. Cool.
very nice.
Cool. Okay.
I mean,
Very nice.
Hamilton at Silverstone, I'm sure, Sherry, you've probably seen that tweet that's going around that Hamilton in 2008 and 2012 won the 10th race of the season. And guess what the 10th race of this season is? You know. Yeah. I mean, look, the Mercedes looked good in general.
Yeah.
I don't think it's still at the pace differential between Ferrari and Red Bull and Mercedes is still quite high.
Yeah.
But I think they've got that third place locked and loaded. George Russell, Mr. Sunday, you know, always there.
It's been
in
so
that top
consistent.
five.
Yeah. Also, I
By
think
far
this
the
is-
most consistent.
This is where we had predicted that they're going to kind of come into the race at this point anyways, right? So I think now is when it's going to get competitive and get better, hopefully. And we're going to see more, I think, as we move, forward. But I think Silverstone, obviously, there's that energy is only so, like infectious, I think, for Lewis, that it's obviously like such a massive support. So I do feel like they're going to do like well there as well.
But my wild prediction is that it's going to be tamer than we think it is. Like,
Is it?
I think so.
Why?
How come?
I think so.
Why do you say that?
Just
Gut
from the
feel or
perspective,
like-
look, one great race, etc., all of that, some upgrades, but I still don't know if that car is there to the point where they're going to get their elbows out against each other at least, right? If you're talking about the baggage from that battle.
competitive.
I'm saying if you're talking about the baggage from that specific battle, I don't think it's going to be like, I'd be very surprised if it's the two of them going for like, like the first corner or anything like that at the same. I'd be very, very surprised if that was happening. I feel like if it happens, it'll be like with other cars, and I just feel like inherently, I don't know what it looks like to you guys, but over the course of the season, the way sort of like a Max sort of behaves with sort of other drivers at the front of the grid is very different from the way he gets his elbows out with Lewis. And with the way Lewis gets his elbows out with Max, it's different, right? It's different. It's a little more personal. I don't know how to explain it. But it is a little more
it just
personal.
feels personal.
It feels a little bit more, and I feel like there's going to be a little more space between them this time, and I don't think it's going to get that personal. I could be wrong. I'd be happy to be proven wrong, even like in the sense that make for a more dramatic race.
I do think it would be a good race for Mercedes, given that a lot of the bouncing issues that they've been facing have been very street circuit specific. We had like, I think 3 street circuits back to back, right? Like Monaco, Baku, this thing. Silverstone being a purpose-built track, I think a few years ago, they resurfaced the track and everything should be a lot smoother. So I feel like they may not have as many bouncing issues and stuff like that. But that clash is not going to happen. I
tend
to agree with
clash is going to happen. I think it's too soon. Even if it could at some point, it's still too soon to get there.
Speaking of Silverstone, our boy Jehan is like currently doing laps around it. Like right now, probably as we speak right now, he's probably doing laps around it in the McLaren. Like how good is that for Sada plan, guys?
It's
What do you say?
working out. It's working
Very
out.
good. Very
It's working out. On your ass, Danny Rick. No, I'm kidding. I don't mean to start any beef. I don't mean to start any beef, guys. I don't mean to.
But I mean, it's also important to like just temper expectations a bit. I mean, lots of people are like seeing this and thinking, no, chalo, he's straight up next season, he's getting a seat. It's a long journey for a lot of these guys. I think there is an opportunity, like if it goes well for him, a test driver slot, potentially a move to like the Japan Super Formula for a couple of seasons, GTM, stuff like that. Go to IndyCar, get a bit of like real world proper like tier 1 race experience, and I think then after that is when you look to come realistically for him, because I think there's already so many crazy good like drivers in the reserves waiting right now that would be very hard to break into
Jump
that
them,
circuit. So again, it's great.
Jehan also has been tempering expectations. I read a few interviews with him and things like that, where he's like, "Look, this doesn't mean I'm going to be in F1 next year directly and stuff like that." But the fact that he's getting seat time in a Formula One car is massive for him.
Yeah.
You know, just like that experience of being in a Formula One car and putting in some laps around Silverstone, and that also. McLaren's given him the 2021 car, so it's not like they're like racing some really older car and things like that. Yeah. So I think it's very good for our boy. Plus the fallout of all this shit that's happening with the other Red Bull sort of junior team drivers, Juri Vips in particular, is all of this is working well for #Sada Plan, I feel.
That's true. So while we were on the topic of Silverstone being newly surfaced and all of that, so if you notice, the Mercedes was very good on the hairpin in Canada because it had been freshly surfaced. So all the sections that have been relayed. So in fact, Toto in his post-race interview, he said that we're starting a new line of business where Mercedes is going to try to resurface all the tracks before we get there.
So, fully. George had some really nice dives in there. Like getting in there.
Because wherever the track is smooth and there's no like I won't say porpoising anymore, it's just bouncing because the ride is that so it's going to be interesting. And also I think Silverstone will be interesting this time because of again, before getting into the major braking zones, there are a lot of dirty air sections, which used to make the overtaking a little bit more difficult last time. So again, the new cars, because the main straight, the second straight leading into Stowe, you have Maggots and Beckett's before that. Earlier,
Hanger straight.
Hanger straight, So used to be a lot of issues to follow through that section.
Follow through there, I'm very excited to see this generation of cars through there. Just imagine going through these cars, the downforce, because it's generated from the floor, actually have the potential to be faster in faster corners. You know, so Silverstone has some really fast corners. It'll be very exciting.
It's mostly fast corners. I think there's like two sets of slow corners over there. The rest is just
that last chapel and you know, getting onto the straight, onto the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight.
Oh yes.
The start finish straight is the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight now. Exactly.
Well, it's nice to have a straight named after you while you're still racing. It's nice.
Still racing, amazing.
Yeah, that's quite a flex. I mean,
super flex.
Just like he'll just sideswipe people. It's like, hey, mere straight pe overtake nahi karne ka. Next hanger pe aa tu. You are not allowed.
Sainz says perfect race for DCS season 5, DTS season 5. Full content for McLaren, Alpine, and Haas episodes. Mercedes first podium in 2022. With recent rumors about Piastri to Williams, do you think it will happen, or will Latifi stay with Williams for a couple of seasons? Sorry, Arjun, you were saying something, and then you can take.
No, on the whole DTS season 5 thing, did you guys hear about the sort of fracas that happened in the constructors meeting between Binotto and Toto Wolff?
What?
So around this whole bouncing issue and the FIA directives that came before the race, around the measures that the FIA was going to take, there was a team constructors meeting. Toto Wolff and Mattia Binotto got into apparently like a war of words type of thing. And then of course Christian Horner put his 2 points in over there. Drive to Survive was filming this whole thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So to the guy who commented on DTS season 5, I think this episode, race is going to definitely have some masala. So
and in fact, it will have more masala than it actually should. If
just
strategically cut
extra tadka.
Will Buxton will give some gyan also.
It will be like actually Mattia Binotto saying, "Oh, you want the car to be sucked closer to the ground." It will just cut to him saying, "You suck." That's all. That's what Drive to Survive has become in the last 2 years. And Will Buxton being like, he does, yes.
He does suck.
Again, coming back quickly to Alpine and giving Fernando Alonso, I think what a great showing again in quali, showing that he's still, I think, in the wet, there are 4 drivers who are just that you can't touch currently. Like there's Alonso, there's Max, there's Lewis, and there's Vettel. I don't think there are 4 any better drivers in the wet on the grid. So good. I mean, I watched the entire onboard of his lap, and just that final chicane, the exit he got from there. You could see the counter steering. And
I'm getting chills right now.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about it. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
And you saw like the difference between the two Spaniards, where like he gave it just the right amount. You saw Sainz little too gung ho, got that oversteer and that. I mean, he would have not got pole anywhere, but maybe he would have got second because of that. But that was the difference. And
we're so indicative of like Alonso always being able to extract the full potential of that car. You know, even apparently at the last few laps of the race, he had an engine clipping issue. You know, he got that 5-second penalty for weaving and stuff like that. But basically he had this engine clipping issue, and apparently for the last few laps of the race, like he wasn't getting the thing. But he made sure he was in Esteban Ocon's DRS for the whole thing. So even though he wasn't getting the full potential, like on the engine, he was there in the DRS. Like that guy knows how to extract time out of a vehicle. Like it's crazy. Yeah.
Really good. But I was watching his interviews post the thing and all that, and you know, every interviewer was trying to just get him excited, saying, Alonso, you're back, you're on the front row, what does this mean to you? And he's like, straight up, he's like, nothing really. And just it doesn't mean anything. He was just being very realistic. I'm here now, but we'll finish 5th, 6th only. So don't get excited.
But we were talking about Max and Lewis being an exciting thing to watch on track. Alonso and Lewis is another different dynamic. It's like this year he's like, this is what it feels like to be behind me on track. You know, it's like it's got.
And his entire thing was always, where is Lewis? Where is Lewis?
Where is he? Where is he? It's like the other guys don't exist only. Just where is he?
Every interview somehow he
how can I make this guy's life hell?
Just be like, let's just talk about Lewis somewhere. तो कुछ ना कुछ तो डालना पड़ेगा.
He's the Nico Rosberg of racing. Nico Rosberg is banned from being the Nico Rosberg of racing. Alonso.
Quick shout out for Alfa Romeo. I think they had a very, very strong race again. Both drivers in the points, Bottas and Zhou. Struggled a little bit in the straight line. You could see Zhou complaining, saying, why it doesn't go faster? Like that was literally what he was saying.
But the move on Danny Rick was very good.
Danny Rick, he went on the outside, no?
Super move.
Confidence move and everything. That Guan Yu Zhou is one to watch out for. Like, I mean, let's not sleep on that kid. Like, he is first Chinese driver in F1 and everything, but that guy's got some moves, you know, like it's really like exciting to watch.
To outbreak Danny Rick, the latest of the late breakers, as he
late breakers, exactly.
That very, was very incredible. Nice. Very, very well done over there. And Bottas again just managing like every race quietly, just coming in 6th, 7th, 8th.
Bottas is enjoying, guys. Please don't disturb Bottas. Bottas is enjoying. At this point, Bottas is not even on an F1, so he's in Vipassana basically. He's got this 9-month Vipassana.
You cannot say Vipassana without As Rohan. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. There we go.
Nudist colony meditating.
It's just exactly, that's it.
In a Finnish sauna, like completely butt naked. Exactly.
I think he's giving you the new Kimi Raikkonen vibes.
No? Full on.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, it's great to watch, and like that pressure seems to be off. He's thriving in that environment. And Alpha seems like a pretty competitive car. Like in the midfield, like, you know, when they get it on point, it's racy. They're able to overtake. You know, Silverstone could be a good weekend for them as well.
They're very few points off from like sort of as a constructor at least like, giving a decent showing.
And if McLaren is keep like sucking like this, you know, like Alpine, Alpha are all there.
No, I'm looking at it right now, man. It's 14 points between McLaren and Alpha, and there's Alpine in the middle. That's
exactly.
That's like you said, one good weekend, right?
One good weekend.
One good weekend, and suddenly you're 4th in the Constructors' Championship.
But people who are having had an absolutely terrible weekend was AlphaTauri. Starting with Gasly's entire nightmare of qualifying. I think his left brake was not working in qualifying, which was absurd considering the FP3 that he had, where I think he was 3rd, if I'm not wrong.
He was having a good. No, Vettel was third, I think, in FP3.
So then he was second.
No, he was second. Yeah. Gasly was second. It was like Alonso, Vettel, and Gasly, like at the top of FP3. What a weekend that would have been. Yeah.
So very, very unfortunate for him. And then Tsunoda's penalty starting at the back, and then the
facepalm moment. My God.
How do you crash? This is what we do in like F1 games, where you're just not paying attention. You take the pit limiter off, go full throttle, and you're in the wall.
Cold tires straight into the wall. It was like such a rookie error. I'm sure he's kicking himself.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah.
Did we get to hear his radio after that? Because that would have been...
It was deleted at once. The audio file was deleted. Completely deleted from all records of it.
But I want to know, were the expletives coming from him or the team? Because they were like, ऐसा कौन track करता है यार?
Yeah, exactly.
We haven't seen this in years. Come on.
Yeah. Rookie error that was.
You should have sent him for a walk through the forest.
Iconic photographs.
Sergio
Perez.
Just straight up. Somehow in the middle of a busy ass city like Montreal, managing to find the one spot you can go full Indiana Jones.
Fully. I'm sure Vettel would have found a scooter. 100% Vettel would have found a scooter. Sergio Perez has to walk it back in the
he said no. Yeah. They offered him a scooter. He said he wants to walk. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay.
But very, very sad. I think he's the last guy to touch upon. But Perez, shit weekend for him through and through. I think quali, again, it wasn't like a huge mistake. It's just misjudging the conditions a little bit, and it's so tricky.
But should have got it right.
Should have got it right, yeah.
Yeah, should have got it right. He was in a competitive car and everything, and then...
Yeah. And of course, the race wasn't really his fault. There's nothing he could do about it. I think it was a gearbox failure. So
transmission.
That was quite sad for him. But it does mean at least the constructors gets a little bit closer for now.
Does it? Like, where are we on the constructor? I think like Red Bull still like some 80 points ahead or something.
But they would have gained like I said 1-2 points. Ferrari, so just small
Carlos Sainz got fastest lap also, I think.
Yeah.
Didn't Carlos get fastest lap also?
Yeah. It is currently, I will tell you, I am looking at it, 304 points for Red Bull, 228 for Ferrari, and 188 for Mercedes. And then it gets quite tight with McLaren, Alpine, and Alfa Romeo, 65 to 51 that is. And then it all sort of falls away for the rest of them.
Yeah, very disappointing season so far for both AlphaTauri and Aston Martin. I think both AlphaTauri, particularly after last season, you would have expected them to be in that 4th, 5th, 6th battle.
And after Baku and Gasly's amazing race in Baku, I was like, come on, this would have been like a great race for them as well, another street circuit. But
doesn't seem to be happening. Yeah, I think that more or less covers I think everything that I had made a note of.
What were our predictions?
Predictions. Wait, I have them. Rohan has just stopped giving predictions on
this weekend. Hey, last week was full jet lag week, alright? I didn't get a chance to, and I didn't want to steal Azeem's thunder, but Azeem, I too missed Q3 entirely for the same result. Like literally Q1 fine, Q2 fine. And then at some point, I just wake up in this awkward position with everything in pain because I'd fallen asleep on the couch and that stupid stream has ended. JPEG that Hotstar puts up.
Just like end the stream for me, no?
Instead of just end it like JPEG, that needless JPEG. I'm just looking at it and it's looking at me, and then I just went to bed.
So I think we made our predictions post Q2, if I'm not wrong.
What? No way. I think we all did before.
No, post Q3 we made our predictions. Correct. Yes. Usually I think the rule is supposed to be Q2, but we did Q3. So my prediction for quali was Max.
You mean FP3, not Q3.
FP3.
FP3. Yeah.
Just eliminate half the grid.
Race predictions.
Guess what? My predictions came after qualifying.
Only the one who stayed awake will give those predictions.
Imagine getting him all wrong after that, though. The walk of shame that happens on that one.
Like watching the highlights and hoping for a separate result. Like highlights.
If I turn this exam question paper over one more time.
So for quali, my prediction was Max Charles pre-penalty because I didn't know it was a full penalty. I thought it was a 10-place grid drop.
No, like he took like a lot of parts, and it was I think it was a good thing that they took it on a circuit where overtaking was actually possible.
Yeah.
So and Checo third place, so quali was a disaster, and then race also didn't get much better. It was Max, Checo, Alonso. Wild prediction also didn't happen.
Yeah.
It was at least one champion in Wall of Champions. That was my prediction, which also did not happen.
Hey, nobody was in Wall of
Nobody was
Champions,
in Wall
right?
of
This
Champions.
time?
Nobody.
Interesting.
Oh, it's crazy how disappointed you guys sound that nobody. You sound oddly disappointed. Guys, I mean, I don't mean to put too fine a point on it, but that was not like good. That was like
It's kind of a Montreal tradition, you know. You're just like hoping that like that's
fucking
the
who?
thing that
For you.
Like the Valtteri Bottas GIF, no?
None
tradition.
of the drivers want to be like. I'm hoping it's a one-off, but them is not tradition.
See,
It was me, guys.
I think there is much more respect in going into the Wall of Champions than crashing on pit exit. You know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
See, I feel like Yuki was respectful. He's like, this is the Wall of Champions. I am not ready for it yet, so I'll go find another place to hit. Like,
this is the Wall of Rookies.
The Wall of Rookies.
The Wall of Rookies.
And the one in
the Wall of Rookies.
And the one in the chicane where both Sergio and Max, Mick retired. I think that can be the Wall of gearbox failure.
That was the car park of gearbox failure.
Yeah.
So Arjun Ravi's predictions were almost very good for quali because he put Sainz on pole, Max second, Alonso third.
Hey, that's a great. Actually, that's not bad at all.
Not bad at all. Hello, chalo. At least once it worked out.
Yeah, well done. And then race.
Yeah.
Race was Max to win, Alonso second, Russell third.
Ooh.
Which did not work. And the wild prediction, aka the side pot, and I respect that Arjun is the only person who calls it what it's supposed to be called. Both Canadian drivers DNF, and that also didn't happen. So,
And Latifi, I was like, come on, I almost could have put money on it. Ki like kuch hona tha udhar. Wall of Rookies mein to at least, you know.
It was Yuki time.
Yeah.
Scherezade Shroff also came sort of close. Max, Sainz, Checo. There was no Alonso for quali. And in race, you can see the subtle Max DNF that she has put in the race prediction. With Sainz, Perez, Alonso. And the side pot was Vettel on podium.
When you see who someone's inviting to a party, you also see who they're not inviting to a party.
Exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of not at all a party, then should we just get to it and talk about the uncomfortable shit that's gone down today? There will be no telemetry today, by the way, guys. Unfortunately,
Oh, there's no telemetry.
Aditya cannot join us because he is at work and like he has jobs. He has job. He has job. उतना resume डाला मतलब internet पे job तो हो गया.
We miss you, Aditya.
Miss you, Aditya. We hope to see you back next week with insightful things, unlike the bakchodi that we do. Nowhere Gara, Juri Vips suspended currently for using a racial slur in a Twitch live stream. I mean, look, man, I don't want to judge people like by their worst, etc., whatever, but I've been streaming for like a while and all of that. I stream a lot, okay? Like, I'm not saying like I'm like the most prolific streamer, but I stream a lot. And somehow those words have not come out of my mouth. Okay? Yeah. I don't know how, but somehow those words have not come out of my mouth. So what do we make of this?
Yeah, it's a very, first of all, it's just sad that effectively this is his career over. Which is a huge shame for considering he was having a pretty good season as well, showing a lot of potential. And again, just something literally as dumb as a Twitch stream to lose everything over that. And I'm sure he is obviously mortified with himself, and I hope he is. Yeah, it's messed up. Red Bull, again, the entire announcement came out that he's been suspended. He put out his apology as well. And the thing that I don't appreciate, and again, this is a wider sort of cancel culture thing, is the fact that when a person has put out an apology, maybe they actually do feel remorse for what they've done, and maybe they do feel bad, and you do have to forget it at times. You do forget that he is a 21-year-old boy at the end of the day. But this entire thing that people have of, oh, you're not apologizing because you mean it, you're only apologizing because you got caught, I think that's not a fair brand to put on people. So it's going to be a struggle for him for sure. I don't see how he redeems himself in the near future, which is very sad considering how young he is. But yeah, at least that's what I think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, echo your thoughts entirely, Azeem, in that, like, look, he's a kid at the end of the day. But, like, you know, I feel like also the casual nature of the sort of unconscious things that sort of happen. It's like Rohan was saying, like, Rohan, I mean, all of you guys are like prolific content creators.
Yeah,
I mean, present person excluded, but like, you know, you guys, like, I mean, you're doing it, you're aware, it doesn't even cross your mind.
Like,
You know, and these
Kuldeep has
kids
a great
grow up.
point here in the chat. He's like, there's one word you can't say. How difficult is it to not say?
Come
exactly.
There's
Yeah.
one word. It's not like this giant list of. There's
Yeah.
one word you can't say. How hard is it to not say it? Right?
Yeah. So I feel like that aspect of like the casual nature of not being aware is something that a lot of these guys have to proactively sort of consider rather than just reacting to something that's happened, you know, and if they are willing to learn from it and change their behavior and stuff like that, then 100% we should not judge people on their worst moments and things like that. But yeah, it's just the casual nature of it that just feels fuck all, you know.
Yeah. But also, Arjun, I think as you pointed out earlier, there is so much racism in the sport. And I think like something like this is the opportunity for people to speak about it. And I think, unfortunately, it may be happening across the board or with a lot of people. And this guy is now going to, you know, bear the repercussions for a lot of
like,
you know, I mean, time that this has gone on for. But I think it's important because I feel like that kind of is the change that you need to see, right? Where we're like, okay, this is not something that anyone's going to tolerate. Yeah.
I mean, just on the point that you're mentioning that we were chatting about earlier, I'm sure many people in the chat have sort of seen that as well. Just at the start of the weekend, Naomi Schiff, the new Sky Sports presenter, you know, had like sort of racist comments coming to her on social media, and you saw all the drivers, like literally every single one of them stand up for it and say like, look, this is not cool and things like that. And then going back to us talking about Lewis and the kind of shit he must have faced and probably still continues to face because of his race is just, you know, is crazy and should not be tolerated. Sorry, Rohan, you were saying so.
No, I just feel like, I mean, obviously there should be space for rehabilitation, but there also has to be, the rehabilitation comes after like acts of contrition, right? Like that is the idea, right? That rehabilitation is not just gifted. In the sense that like you said, the casualness of it is something that like should think about like a little bit. Like I don't know that anybody's career should completely end, etc. for something like that, but also at the same time, you can't just shrug it off. Like,
of course,
you know, that's just there's no space for that. Also, so sad tidings all around. Like it's just sad. But
on a separate note, good for our boy Jehan. Like, there's one less Red Bull Junior team driver that he has to worry about. You know.
There's
a silver lining.
That's the silver lining that we were looking for.
I wonder if Juri Vips knows that there's these 4 people in India who are like,
just watching the stream, waiting for us to say something racist for another.
Exactly.
But no, all jokes aside, it's sad for him. It's sad for the sport as well to just have this shadow hanging over it, because you know it's going to be a talking point. You know the senior drivers are also going to be asked about it, and they are obviously going to have to. Nobody's going to take his side on it. Everyone's going to have to like outright condemn, and then you have that slap of, okay, Lewis Hamilton said that this is not good and you shouldn't be allowed to race and blah blah blah, and then that's it. Where do you go from there? As it So,
in the court
and also,
of
I
public
mean, I
opinion,
think it's
at
a lesson for all the young people and aspiring people, content creators as well, who watch us and want to stream or whatever. Just
Or want to
I
be
think,
F1 drivers.
Yeah, want to do anything in general. I think any walk of life. I think just if you avoid being racist, it's good only. I think that's the large takeaway.
There's no benefits on that.
There's oddly few benefits.
Few benefits of being
I have yet not found one.
Azeem, stellar advice. Avoid being racist. It's good only.
It's very
it's good only.
advice. It's like the end of one of those episodes of He-Man, where like after they cut away one to one. Little Timmy learned today that you must not run away from your family.
This will be a new Panchatantra story. With the
man, all the people who came here from Telemetry and they're just getting this basic Deepak Chopra shit. Like, what podcast have I come to here? What is happening? Let me see if there's any.
But if it works, if it enables, like Azeem, to your point earlier about like how you've seen Seb going from being the villain to being this like ultra woke guy who's like all about inclusion and stuff like that, and if it's enabling us to have a more woke culture in general in Formula One, I'm fucking all for it. Like, it's great. I'd love to see all the drivers going and picking up trash from the stands and like cycling to the track and standing up against Ukraine and stuff like that. Please use your platform for all of that.
I don't know why I just imagine Vettel at Mahim Beach doing cleanup.
Sorry?
I just imagine Vettel at Mahim Beach doing cleanup. On Sunday morning.
But unfortunately, the FIA thinks it takes away from the sport, right? So they ban the t-shirts, they ban any conversation points, which is what I feel like it's so stupid because this is what kind of makes them real people and what they stand for.
But I think that FIA thing is also like you're trying to stem a tide with a spoon. Like it's not going to happen. It's really just probably not going to. It's silly to think that we're going to move away to a less outspoken sort of culture where people feel like they're going to be more robotic. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, and also like F1 is the constant contradiction, right? Like like Seb Vettel's helmet this weekend was around that whole sort of gas pipeline that was happening in this thing. But Aston Martin is sponsored by Aramco.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, like, it's like that constant contradiction in life that F1 has to sort of thing. But if the drivers want to have a voice, I feel like to Shari's point, it makes them human. Like it makes them so much more like real people, that they have an opinion about things and
and you can drive fast and have good opinions. Like it's possible.
It's good only.
It's good only. Guys, it's good only.
It's good only.
Guys, it's good only. Do we have any final thoughts? We have no race this weekend, so no predictions to make. Finally, a weekend off, so to speak. It's been quite relentless.
Yeah, but it's been interesting. I mean, so far it's been a good season. I'd say, like I've enjoyed all the races so far. There's something or the other. Acha, if the races, like even this race was kind of in the middle, getting a little this thing, and then Yuki put it in the wall. Something or the other is sort of happening that like keeps you interested till the last lap. It's been a good season so far. I'd say, positive.
So.
Yeah, I think it's been overall quite exciting across the board. Like no matter what driver team you support, as a season so far, it's at least been an exciting season to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to hope that these guys, like the other teams, also like Leclerc gets a few wins and all now, so it's just not like this one-sided.
Because otherwise I feel it's gonna be quite,
It's be the max show.
So far it's been a good season to start a podcast, but like. Last season would have been a great season to start a podcast. I just have to say, we're one season late to this party. We would have people with us all the way to the end of the season.
And I think we would have been fighting every week.
My God. We would have had full.
Actually, this podcast would have broken up in by that last episode would have been like series finale. Last episode would have been a full.
Never speaking to you guys again.
Oh man. We should totally do that. By the way, we should go back and record an episode. just like we're watching that last race for the first time.
Reacting to the last race.
Race,
Yeah.
That's
It'd be nice to see
interesting idea.
Sherry throttling Azeem with the mic cord.
Azeem, no, Sherry, no, this is so not right. She'll be like, Azeem, we went podcasting, okay?
I'll be in the background just breaking headphones randomly. Just like breaking.
You're just changing a new headphone.
Just headphones. Throwing headphones against the wall randomly.
Yeah. Really hilarious.
But yeah, I would just be going into a wall on the side.
Yeah.
Change the balance of power in the DC universe forever. But yeah, guys, how do you in general, before we go, feel about the fact that potentially one of the great era changes in Formula One could have technically been brought about by a simple action of Nicholas Latifi?
That guy, I'm telling you, like we talked about it, he needs a sponsorship from Netflix.
Somewhere
Like
a butterfly
Netflix
goes
needs to
into
be
a
sponsored.
wall and the world changes.
Yeah. Netflix needs to be sponsoring the Williams team.
Yeah, it's
You know,
true.
like I feel like So give them some sponsorship money.
Hey, that makes
like
sense
that
also, because you know what sound you
Yeah,
make
yeah.
when you go into a wall? Da-dum!
Yeah. Ta-dum. Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah, as good a note as any, I guess, to end the stream. Anybody have
Yes.
any final or closing thoughts? Announcements to announce. Mr. Banatwalla, where are you touring this weekend?
Yes, of course. Yeah, this weekend is Delhi and Gurgaon. So Gurgaon on Saturday and Delhi, South Delhi on Sunday. And also in Gujarat for the week after that, where I will be half watching the race and half doing my show while that's happening.
Nice.
So you can also come and do the same thing. You can listen to me when I'm on, and then you can watch the race when Angad is on. I don't care.
Right.
Yeah,
Did you just
but
invite us to Gujarat?
Yeah.
no, I was
For
telling
no
the
good
chat
reasoning.
people.
Okay,
No, I was
chat
telling
people.
the
Okay,
chat.
cool. I was like, oh, you're
Yeah,
inviting us to
I mean, you can
Gujarat?
also come if you want to.
I mean, no, I'll come to your house in Bandra, bro. It's fine. It's here only, bro. It's okay only.
Yeah. But it's Surat, Ahmedabad, Baroda.
Nice.
Ahmedabad Friday, Baroda Saturday, and Surat on Sunday. So yeah, 3 shows will be fun. And
Only
also,
veg.
big announcement for in the sim racing world is that F1 22 releases this Monday
Yay!
with full VR, and I'm very excited for it.
Fantastic.
You got a PSVR or something like that? That you're
No, I
or you're
have
gonna play it
the
on PC?
Oculus.
Okay,
Quest.
you'll play on PC. Okay, cool.
So I'm so excited for that, and yeah, we'll be streaming that
No
next
way
week
this
as
can
well.
end badly for you.
I've got something to promote on behalf of a friend. There's an amazing, if you guys are in Bombay, there's an amazing gig happening tomorrow night at Antisocial in Todi Mills. One of the best Bombay rock bands of all time, Tough on Tobacco, are going to be playing there
Oh,
tomorrow.
nice.
Oh, really?
Amazing music.
Okay.
If you guys are around, the Light Years Explode opening for them.
Oh,
Another
shit.
amazing
Wow.
Bombay rock band. And Tough on Tobacco tomorrow night at Antisocial in Lower Parel. Come
What
on
time is
down.
it on
It's gonna
till?
be- It'll start around 10ish and go on till like.
Oh,
1ish,
nice.
I think.
Awesome. I'll
Yeah.
probably
So if
go
you
for
guys
that.
are around, please drop by. It's going
Okay.
to be one of the best nights for like if you're a Bombay rock and roll fan. Come on
Awesome.
down.
I shall go.
Alrighty.
Cool.
Fantastic.
Oh.
On that note, Sherry, anything?
No, I'm good.
High
Nothing.
five. Me also. Very good. On that note, everybody, thank you, chat. Thank you for watching. Ek baar jaane se pehle, just smash that like button one more time. Come on. Just do it. Do it.
Do it, do
before
it,
you
do
go.
it.
Just once, alright? On that note, good night. And we will, I think, see you next Monday. We think, or what? Are we doing like a break also?
Yeah,
Or?
let's
Let's
I mean,
figure-
I don't
We
mind.
can
Let's
figure
see.
a special
let's-
episode
A
with
special
or
episode,
something
yes,
like that.
yes.
Let's do some fashion side walk
Do
and
some
Chalo,
memes
chalo.
and
maybe
I can
we
do
a sidewalk
Silverstone
and
track
all.
guide if you want.
I can
Track
do,
guide and all. Yeah, let's
yeah.
do something.
Okay.
Yeah. It could be fun. Yeah,
Let's do
I'm
some
down for
funsies
it.
things.
Yeah.
Okay, chalo, done.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Alright, friends. Alright, chat. Good night, everybody. Have a fun one, and we will see you next week. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
See y'all. Bye.
Bye.